Welcome to the Supreme Resort Land v World, a podcast about Disneyland and Walt Disney World, and which is the Supreme. Welcome to Dark Rides, a podcast about Disneyland and Walt Disney World and the grisly deaths of classic attractions. Each episode we will discuss each resort, ride by ride, land by land, murder by murder to determine the truth. I am your host, Dennis Stack, and thank you for joining us on this quest to help the greater good of humanity answer this long elusive question: who benefits from the crime? With me, as always, is Mike Hansen.
Hi, I'm Mike Hansen. And I love the Beatles very much.
Thank you for expressing your love for the Beatles, as you do every episode. Adam Walsh Jr. is also here.
Greetings, fellows. Always a pleasure.
I'm glad we're all here today to talk about this very important topic, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride at Walt Disney World. Not the one at Disneyland. There were two for a time.
Mm.
Do you
I'd
recall
like to
this?
take this opportunity to banter in a calm fashion.
Well, thank you for doing so. I appreciate this.
Calm.
Okay. Yes.
I
Don't
know
get
that
too excited there.
In previous episodes, you've had quite the short fuse, and I'm glad that anger management seems to be going well for you.
Yes, I recently listened to an episode about the Haunted Mansion, and it riled me up.
Yes, that episode we did on the swan boats, we couldn't air it. I'm sorry, listeners, but that one will have to be re-recorded at a later date when Adam is more level-headed, shall we say.
But enough about us. I'd like to talk about one of our sponsors, Brad Johansson, murder lawyer. Introducing Brad Johansson, the fearless murder lawyer who always fights for justice when the stakes are at the highest. When darkness falls and the truth is buried deep, Brad shines a relentless light on the shadows, uncovering the hidden stories that others dare not touch. Don't face the storm alone. Call Brad Johansson, where justice is not just a word, but a promise. Are you facing legal trouble? Call Brad Johansson, your defender of justice. Dial 856 our ears and secure your tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to our murder lawyer sponsor. Well, let's get this show started, eh? What do you think? Shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. I need full agreement. Mike, do you consent?
Yes, I enthusiastically consent.
Okay. Thank you. J Thaddeus Toad, Esquire, better known simply as Mr. Toad, was a true friend, with his heart in the right place. He had a close relationship with his horse, Cyril Proudbottom, and was clearly close with Water Rat, and even closer with Moley. He cared for his friends and enjoyed their company. He was adventurous, singing with excitement during his rides across the countryside.
Toad's good tendencies were often overshadowed by his conceit and obsession for the latest fads and manias, caravans, motor cars, and airplanes. Even imprisoned, he was only briefly reconsidered trying to overcome his obsessions. His hesitation to break out his innocence aside was equally brief. He was clever, and he was capable of outrunning a horde of officers and another horde of thugs, albeit with help. His brief yet coincidental encounter with one Mr. Sanders remains an ever-looming mystery. Following Toad's demise, Sanders took possession of Toad's real estate.
We don't know the relationship between these two, but we do know, if you look deep enough, there remains a hint of what actually happened.
This is the story of the murder of Mr. Toad.
We are also brought to you by a company called Harness. They are making they make harnesses for adults. I don't fully understand it.
Adults? Okay. An adult? Okay. All right.
I just wanted to make it clear before I read the ad copy.
Oh, okay.
Remember the thrill of exploring theme parks hand in hand with your little one? Relive those heart-pounding moments with Harness, the ultimate child safety harness designed for adults who refuse to grow up. Experience the joy of wandering down memory lane, one leash at a time. Strap into nostalgia with Harness, where safety meets sentimentality. Embrace the freedom to roam and let your inner child run wild. Just like the good old days. Don't let adulthood fence you in. Use offer code DARKRIDE20 and unleash the memories, because in this world of adventures, no one puts grown-ups on a leash. So it seems that it's like a leash for adults is what they do.
Oh, like the one you might have for children in a theme park.
I think that's what they're going.
But for adults, okay, yes. If you don't want your spouse to wander off, perhaps because of infidelity,
perhaps.
Yeah.
And hey, kids, it's time for our first ad break. Hang on, we'll be right back.
Oh, wow. Lightning McQueen here. Race day snacks are really a drag, even for a precision instrument of speed and aerodynamics like myself. But that's why I love Pop Secret. Ka-chow! Just pop it in the microwave and faster than fast, quicker than quick, you have a salty, buttery treat the whole family can enjoy. Use my code, Piston Cup, that's spelled how you think it is, at popsecret.com for one free bag to ka-chow down on. Ka-chow!
If you would like to advertise on Dark Rides, just call our agent at 856 our ears.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Let's continue with this dark ride, shall we?
It was late in 1997 when Toad started to catch wind of a new fellow in town. Sanders was making inroads within the local social circles, buttering up Disney executives and making pleasant films about friendship and diversity and honey.
Toad didn't make films anymore. The documentary of his motor car cavorting first hit theaters in 1947, packaged with a story about a man being chased by a spectral horseman. These days, many folks own copies of Toad's film on VHS cassettes, able to watch at any time at home. Even so, most preferred watching of their shiny new releases of D3, The Mighty Ducks, or Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Nevertheless, Toad was having fun. Every few minutes, excited Magic Kingdom guests would careen around corners, seeing the sights of the English countryside, and a painting of a naked woman.
To understand Toad, we need to delve into the mind of Rolly Crump, the ride's designer. Rolly was a seasoned Imagineer, plucked from the ranks of animators by Walt Disney himself. Rolly enjoyed making whimsical drawings and devices. His work on the facade for It's a Small World was legendary, blending his ideas with the colors and designs of Mary Blair.
Walt enjoyed working with Rolly, often defending his audacious designs when others did not completely get them. Walt even enjoyed Raleigh's sense of a series of paintings and advertisements for drugs like marijuana and heroin.
Have you seen these images before? Have you looked into the work of Rolly Crump? There's quite a lot of imagery out there. Have you read his book?
I have not read his book. I have written It's a Small World several times.
Oh, okay. That's fantastic.
Now, is he related to the Hatbox Ghost in any way?
In the new film, yes. I believe the name was a tribute to Mr. Crump.
Then in that case, no, I have not.
Oh, okay.
I've been to Disneyland is I think what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay.
And the Haunted Mansion, it was actually it was a Tim Burton ride when I was there, but I did go on it.
You enjoyed it thoroughly, correct?
It's probably one of my favorite experiences.
I'm very happy about that.
My understanding is that the original plans for Fantasyland in 1953 in the original prospectus did not include
This is at Disney World, right?
A Mr. Toad ride.
Oh no, Walt Disney World in the 70s. The late 60s, sorry. Yes,
so we're not talking
correct.
about Disneyland.
My family calls it Disney.
Well, that's proper. Not
learned,
proper in the sense of MC Hammer, but
I learned
correct.
the original prospectus for Disneyland in 1953 did not include a Mr. Toad attraction. Some Imagineers went to Northern California to meet with Aero Development, who made rides for amusement parks. And when they went up, they saw they had a lot of off-the-shelf car rides. And when the Imagineers brought it back to Disney, they said, "What movies do we have with cars?" And they suggested Mr. Toad from The Wind in the Willows. Walt didn't particularly like Mr. Toad at all, but that's the only thing they had with cars. So the Imagineers sent images, concept art for the canary yellow vehicles that Mr. Toad would ride around in his film. And then they used that image and the off-the-shelf ride system. Now, Aero Development came back and said, well, we also make, those rides, the kind of like the Matterhorn, the Wild Mouse rides. So they suggested that Wild Mouse ride should be the Mr. Toad experience, being that it's all over the place and unexpected.
It's a madcap adventure.
But Walt Disney did not like the idea of a roller coaster in a building because older people may not be able to handle the experience and young people may get scared at the unpredictable twists and turns. So the ride that they ended up with is, in fact, intended to feel like a Wild Mouse ride with constant turns. I think 45 to be exact.
I think they succeeded.
I wonder if Walt Disney not liking Mr. Toad upset Mr. Toad in any way.
He's a wild but sensitive fellow.
Yes, that Toad. He may have had some. He probably looked up to Walt. I mean, Toad was
literally
brought to America.
He was very short.
One of us
very,
was
very
get
true
to that. So yes.
Very interesting.
What we're saying is that he was very small. That
yes,
yes.
He's a toad.
He is a toad. Yes.
I mean,
you've seen the life-size statue of him in the Disneyland ride.
Right. Just to further clarify for the listener, if you've seen a picture of Walt Disney holding hands with Mickey Mouse, you can imagine Mr. Toad was smaller than Mickey Mouse.
Yes, because famously toads are smaller than mouses.
Do you think Toad was disappointed when the partner's statue did not include him, but instead included Mickey Mouse?
I think he probably would have no reason to expect to, but I would imagine that, you always also feel that disappointment when you are besmirched.
No, the way I understand it, when he learned he was not in the partner statue, he held something he called a Toad in. He wanted to keep Toad in the statue of the partners.
But he was ultimately unsuccessful, as we all know. We also know that the original plans for Fantasyland at Walt Disney World included a Sword in the Stone attraction. Wouldn't you have liked to see a ride that would take you through the wizard's duel between Madame Mim and Merlin?
For the sake of conversation, I will say yes. I would love to have seen that.
I'm glad you're continuing the conversation.
And like in the ride E.T. at Universal Studios, Merlin would call you by name at the end of the attraction.
That would be
or
also
every child
delightful.
would, that part of the attraction would be able to pull the sword out and then put it back, and the next one comes. Everyone gets to pull the sword.
I'd like to just read another ad here. This is actually it's a public service announcement. It is for Poison, reminding people that poison is poison. Attention, everyone. This is a friendly reminder from your local community. Poison is poison, no matter the form. Whether it's in cleaning products, chemicals, or substances found in your home, poison can cause serious harm or even be fatal if not handled properly. Anyways, sorry, always. Oh, I really don't like when I mess up on the ad reads. Okay, I can do this.
Pull it together, Mike. You're doing great. You're doing great.
School of Broadcasting. Okay, here we go. Always store cleaning products, medications, and household chemicals out of reach of children and pets. Remember, the packaging might be different, but the danger remains the same. Poisonous substances are never meant to be ingested, inhaled, or touched without proper protection. Stay safe, stay informed, and let's protect our loved ones together. Thank you for your attention. Safety starts with you.
Ad read, take 6 by Dopey for Coca-Cola. Let's hear it, Dopey. Anytime now. This is an audio read. We can't hear you. Can you speak up? Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's just get someone else.
And we're back. As the Magic Kingdom... Take 2.
Mm-hmm.
As the Magic Kingdom of Walt Disney World was taking shape, Dick Nunis, director of park operations, approached Rowley about a project. Expenses were rising. New dark rides like the one based on the story of Mary Poppins were becoming less and less likely as the park's construction hurtled forward.
Dick needed a cheap and easy win. Replicate a popular attraction from Disneyland, and the folks would flock like a flock of chicken-type park goers.
So it was that Dick asked Rolly Crump to recreate the classic attraction, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, but with a twist. Make 2 identical tracks to accommodate the throngs of Toad lovers.
Toad was interested, as he had taken on a contract with General Motors. As the official spokestoad for the company, he was interested in any opportunity he could find to get the word out about the 1970 Cadillac DeVille.
I'm sorry to deviate from the script here, but I feel like it's interesting to note that the Walt Disney Company put several what they considered lower tier characters in charge of brand sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
I know, for example, that Flower was in contract with Carnation, and they had Chernabog working with Exxon. And I think, as we heard previously, Dopey was with Coca-Cola. And there's a lot more. And I think, getting back to the script, you might recall this commercial for McDonald's with Baloo.
Well, I say, this here's Baloo, and I'm coming to you from, this is old, this is old Lightning McQueen for Baloo. Baloo, Baloo. Well, hello there, everybody. This is Baloo the Bear coming to you from the jungle, because where else would I be? And I want to tell you about the jungle's #1 food, McDonald's. If you're looking to get as far away from a natural sourced, eco-friendly sort of place to go to eat, and if you want to get as far away from anything resembling edible food, well, heck, go right down to McDonald's, and I want you to stand right in line there like a bear would, you know what I mean? And I want you to order just the most disgusting thing you could. Just give them, say, I want 30 cheeseburgers, but no buns. And just pack those things together like you're shuffling cards. That's what we do in the jungle anyway. Then I want you to eat it. And then I want you to go right to the morgue, because that's where you're going to end up if you have too much of this stuff. Because McDonald's is so full of chemicals, I don't even know how they can legally call it food. So anyway, everybody, trust the bear. The bear says, McDonald's, if you're trying to get out of this world, there's nothing like it.
I enjoy these classic commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, me too. It brings me right back to my college years. Anyway, getting back to Toad loved his position. Several lesser characters had their own brands, but Toad's was the most appropriate.
Rolly disagreed.
Damn it, Raleigh, I'm Dick Nunis, Director of Park Operations. We need a new attraction in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We need a cheap and easy win. We need to replicate a popular attraction from Disneyland that folks would flock to like a flock of chicken-type tacos.
What? I mean, okay, all right. hear me out. We have we got the carousel.
Are you high?
No. You're the high one, man. So how about I got a couple ideas. One, you got the canoes. You know the canoes are good.
What does a canoe have to do with Fantasyland?
Well, okay, hear me out. You got the have you ever seen Dick? Have you ever seen Peter Pan?
Have I ever seen Peter Pan? Of course I've seen Peter.
You know the part where
He's
they
one of
go-
our brand ambassadors.
Well, yeah,
For peanut
I
butter.
know.
Damn it, Raleigh. I'll take it in my own hands. Just do Mr. Toad again, but with 2 tracks.
It's a bummer, man.
But I need you to make them identical. Identical.
Dick, stop being such a dick. Yeah, because it says, I don't. If I'm gonna do it, Dick, listen. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it my way, man.
Fine.
Like I'm gonna do some creative stuff. I'm gonna make it like. Have you ever seen a guy that's made out of wax? We could do that. We could have.
You mean the guy in the Haunted Mansion?
Yeah. I'm really tired, man.
All right, listen. First of all, Dick is a nickname. My given name was Penis. Why are you laughing?
All right.
I
This
just
is
do
the
what you need to
part-
do.
This is the part where I'll insert that classic interview between Dick Nunes and Rolly Crump. We found that audio thanks to a ghost who gave it to us. Have you gentlemen noticed some of the tributes to Mr. Toad's Wild Ride around the Magic Kingdom? There aren't many.
Well, I know there's one, and there's a painting of Toad handing a deed to Toad Hall to Owl in Owl's house in the Winnie the Pooh attraction.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yes.
This is at Disney, right?
Yes, at Disney.
Okay.
There's also another room another point in the room where there's a photograph on the floor that shows Molly not handing. No, I'm sorry. The deed is the other one. Molly's just interacting with Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
It's not terribly interesting.
The Winnie the Pooh ride is actually not that interesting, if we're being honest.
No, this is true. We should perhaps. We can't do an episode about it until it's gone.
That's right.
That's true.
Unfortunate.
We only do closed attractions.
And speaking of gone, there's also a statue of Toad inside the pet cemetery outside the Haunted Mansion.
This is also at Disney because the one at Disneyland, the Toad at Disneyland is still with us.
Correct. Indeed.
Yes.
I think it's important that we discuss the relevance of why these references exist in the Magic Kingdom when Toad does not.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Maybe
There's some kind of a code. Maybe someone is trying to confess to a crime of some sort.
These references to the past hint at a darker past. Someone harbored ill will toward Toad. This is a tale of wealth, obsession, friendship, and murder.
Toad was having a grand time with his friends in Disneyland. Regular trips through the countryside, the frequent collisions with trains, and trips to hell. He maintained his fabulous wealth through smart investments. That and his position as Disney's VP of Motor Mania, and also finance.
Toad's importance to the Disney company was clear. Of course, he would be represented in the new Walt Disney World. This new enterprise and its guests would need some thrills that only a motor car could deliver.
As the ride started to come together, Raleigh Crump, normally so confident in his work, had come to an interesting impasse.
All right, hang on. Let me
Do you have
take
a
it.
robot Walt?
28. 25,
You have a robot Walt, right?
Walt
Yeah,
scene.
we did.
Let me start loading Walt up here.
Should we have? Is there like dream music?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I definitely will need to find something for that, just to do like a.
Just do that.
Yeah,
How about the Star Tours?
well established.
The Star Tours. But
Yep.
with a little echo and a very reverby.
Perfect. All right. I don't have that handy. So
That's fine. You can just
I'll pipe it
put
in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you want Rolly to go sleepy? Do you want Rolly to go to sleep?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. Do we?
Okay. Here we go.
Here, let me kick it off. We cut now to some audio, again obtained by one of our ghost friends of one of Rolly Crump's streams.
Oh, well, Dick wants me to redo Mr. Toad at the new park. You know, I like to do my own thing. That's why he brought me to WED, which stands for Walter Elias Disney. But it's nearly the 70s. 1970s. Just the 70s in general, man. Will people still enjoy my particular brand of whimsical nonsense? What the Supreme was that?
Rolly, trust in yourself.
Walt, is that you?
Yes, Roland, it's me. You see, every Imagineer gets to speak to me in a dream once in their career. Didn't you read the contract?
No. How high am I right now?
You're high as a giraffe's taint, Rolly. But you're also asleep. Listen to me, Rolly. I always trusted your designs. I always defended you against that kiss-ass Mark Davis. You do you. And tell Dick Nunes to suck it. Make 2 tracks with different scenes. But can you do me a favor? Can you make a painting of a naked woman somewhere in there?
I already did, Walt. I already did.
I know, Roelli, I know. Farewell, my friend. Stay weird, Roland Crump.
I'm sorry.
That worked really well. I didn't realize when Dick told Rolly to make him identical.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I knew that they were different, but I guess it worked really well. Anyway.
Yes.
That as always, our ability to have dream sequences historical documents was brought to you by one of our sponsors, Staphams.com. Introducing Staphams.com, because who needs fancy spelling when you've got unbeatable savings on postage? Yes, you read it right. It's Staphams.com, spelled wrong, but priced just right. Unlike those other guys, we believe in affordable mailing without the necessary frills. Save big on postage. Okay, take 2. Okay. Okay. Save big on postage at Staphams.com. Sign up now for budget-friendly mailing. It's Staphams.com. Spelled wrong, but the savings are oh so right.
Hey there, folks. Lightning McQueen here, and I've got something exciting to share with you. Pop Secret Popcorn. Ka-chow! You know, whether I'm racing down the track or just kicking back for some downtime, I can always count on Pop Secret Popcorn to make that moment more exciting. Pop Secret Popcorn is the snack that delivers a burst of flavor, just like I deliver speed on the racetrack. and they come in all sorts of mouth-watering varieties. From the classic buttery goodness that's a real winner to the thrilling kick of zesty jalapeno, there's a Pop Secret popcorn flavor for everyone in the family. Whether you're having a family movie night or just looking for a quick and tasty snack, Pop Secret popcorn is the way to go. It's the taste that'll have you saying, ka-chow! So folks, do yourself a favor and head on over to your local store to grab a bag of Pop Secret popcorn. Trust me, your taste buds will thank you. Pop Secret popcorn, it's not just a snack, it's a flavor explosion that'll put a smile on your face faster than a winning lap. Ka-chow! Pop Secret popcorn, the taste of excitement in every bite. Don't miss out on the thrill. Get your bag today and experience the ka-chow for yourself.
And so it came to be. Raleigh designed 2 separate rides that met in the middle and then careened off to Toad's destiny in hell. Families would depart the ride with stories of 2 separate attractions. It was one of Raleigh's many accomplishments, but in the mind of Jeff Moscott, it was his masterpiece.
Oh, hello, I'm reporter Liz Langley from the Orlando Weekly. With me is Jeff. Hello, Jeff.
Hey.
So tell me, young lad, why do you love this ride so much?
I mean, come on, like, it's crazy. The lead character is as insane as I am.
More on Jeff later. He plays a vital role in the story of Toad's defense. Before we get there, we need to discuss some crucial elements of this attraction itself. Let's start with the queue.
So one thing that I noticed about this ride is that the facade is very different from the one at Disney in California.
Yes, it's much more medieval, medieval fair sort of tenty sort of setup, much like the rest of Fantasyland at the Magic Kingdom.
Some would say that Fantasyland is intense.
That's a good one. That was a good one.
Yes, thank you.
And
there's not much of a queue, really.
It's just a series of switchbacks. It appears that there was most likely, I would imagine, different lines for both sides.
Yes. You would be correct.
And I noticed the interior seems to be. It's almost as though the castle exterior is coming inward and acting as a sort of transition to Toad Hall, with many characters along the what would be like a tunnel that relates to the castle outside, and there's a mural depicting the English countryside.
Pardon me. Very quick, Mike. My Apple Watch has told me to stand.
Oh, well.
Okay, those of you listening, make sure that you are also standing. This is our time for standing. It's a part of our regular part
take
of
the
the
time
show.
and stand. Dennis has sat back down.
I have sat back down.
Yeah,
now,
listener, you
there's
may
a
now
mural.
Sit back down.
Is there a mural? And do we know who designed the mural? And did anybody look it up?
No,
I did try to look it up, but I didn't find anything of note about the mural. In fact, a lot of the research that I found went directly to Mr. Toad at Disney in California, which has another mural. I suspect that the mural at Disney was treated
looks
like
in
a
the
piece
style
of
of
background art.
Yeah, but it looks somewhat in the style of animator Bill Justice. I'm not sure. He did several murals at Walt Disney World. I apologize for not finding out this fact for sure.
We'll do that in a past show correction.
Oh, yes. Okay. Until next episode, folks. A little extra mystery.
Dennis, why don't you continue the story?
I am Dennis, and I will continue the story.
Before you do, I have an ad for another, another podcast that is hoping to be part of our network. Okay. Y'all ready for a Southern style showdown? Welcome to the Dollywood Reporter, the sassiest, classiest podcast this side of the Smokies. Join the May Cousins on a thrilling journey through the enchanting world of Dollywood and the legendary life of Dolly Parton herself. Get your fill of toe-tapping tunes, roller coaster adventures, and behind-the-scenes stories that'll make you holler, "Howdy, Dolly!" Dive deep into the rhinestone-studded universe of the Queen of Country and the magical kingdom that she created in the heart of Tennessee. Buckle up for laughter, excitement, and a whole lot of Southern charm. The Dollywood Reporter isn't just a podcast. It's a front row seat to the magic of Dolly and the May Cousins' wild antics. Subscribe now and never miss a twang. Y'all ain't heard Dollywood till you've heard it through the May Cousins. Subscribe to the Dollywood Reporter now on your favorite podcast platform and let the Southern charm wash over you. Okay, that was the Dollywood Reporter.
Guten Tag. Professor Ludwig von Drake here, certified scientist and all-around expert on brilliant things. Are you in the market for a laptop and don't have enough money for a MacBook? Look no further than the HP Spectre X360. It has Windows 11 Home, a 13th generation Intel Core i7 processor, Intel Iris X graphics, 16 gigabits of memory, and 1 terabyte of SSD storage, featuring a 13.5-inch diagonal touch display. Maybe you're also in the market for a printer or a wireless keyboard or mouse. If so, shop HP today. If you're looking for high quality, innovative, and affordable technology, then HP is the brand for you. Shop HP today and see the difference the HP products can make in your life. Guten Tag. Fresh baked.
Why is nobody talking?
I don't know. I think...
Erik, are you muted?
No.
He's
muted.
muted.
I'm sorry. I've been...
Hold on, wait. No,
I apologize.
Adam,
I've been muted.
Adam, weren't you going to do the single writers? That other...
Oh, yeah. I have some ad copy from another one of our sponsors, Single Writers. Attention solo Disney lovers. Prepare to meet your match in the most magical way possible.
But aren't we supposed to play?
They're very specific about.
I'm sorry. We'll have to.
I almost feel like it's more about the music than it is about the product.
Can you talk about Mr. Toad for just a moment while I find the music?
I'm sorry. I thought maybe we would be ready for that.
Here we go.
You said Adam. I'm Adam.
Music is
this
music
part
is loading.
Be edited out.
Okay. We'll edit this part out.
Adam, sit down, please. Adam.
That hurts.
All right, here we go.
My Apple Watch didn't say shit. Attention solo Disney lovers. Prepare to meet your match in the most magical way possible with Single Writers, the enchanting app where solo visitors find love amidst the Disney sparkle. Ever wandered the park, wishing for someone to share your churros with? Your fairy tale romance starts here. Discover the joy of connecting with fellow Disney enthusiasts who cherish the magic as much as you do. Whether you're into thrilling rides, character meetups, or simply strolling down Main Street, Single Writers is your ticket to finding love in the happiest place on Earth. Love isn't just a journey, it's an adventure. Download the Single Writers app and use offer Disney Love to unlock exclusive features. Your Disney romance begins with a single writer and a single swipe. Embrace the magic, embrace the love. Your happily ever after awaits. Find love in the land of enchantment. Download Single Writers now and use offer code DisneyLove. Your Disney romance awaits.
Adam, I just want to say, and we can edit this out if we need to. I can tell that your anger management is working really well, because while you read that, your voice sounded very soothing, even though your face was
I'm
as
very
angry
angry.
as I've ever seen it.
I tried single riders and it does not work.
Oh, that's distressing.
Do you
on with the
still
show.
send all of the messages that you send people in all caps? Because that could.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any other way?
Is your profile picture still you with that big vein popping on your forehead?
There's two.
2 veins, yes.
2 veins.
2 veins.
After I tried single riders, another one popped.
Every element on the exterior of the attraction looked like it fed into an ordinary Magic Kingdom attraction. The average guests had no idea the extent to which they were going to truly experience a wild ride.
Damn it, Raleigh! What do you mean you made 2 identical separate tracks?
Okay, no, hold on. I got this.
We just wanted 2 tracks. Why are they not identical?
Look, there are 2 tracks, man. This is Disney World. Sorry, Disney, and people expect like more, and like I feel like it's natural for somebody to go from Disneyland and think about Disney World and think to themselves, they have so much space, they have so much budget, it would make a lot of sense for them to make use of it. And I noticed that in some cases we don't, man. So, and I mean, on top of it, I had Walt Disney came to me in a dream and
What?
told me.
Did you have a Walt Disney dream?
Yeah, have you had one too?
Everybody only gets one. You wasted it on the wrong ride, my friend. Damn it, Raleigh. I'm director of park operations.
That's right, you are.
Okay.
Penis. Fine. Okay.
Hey, we're friends.
Bye.
It's Dick. Whatever you do, make them separate, make them different. Whatever you do, do not put a picture of a naked woman.
Oh, I sure won't. Wink.
I'm fascinated by all of this audio. Thank you, friends, for sharing this experience with me.
The premise of this ride is simple. You are Mr. Toad, recklessly driving through English towns and farms, wreaking havoc along the way, of course. The left track features such scenes as Toad's trophy room, a kitchen, a gypsy camp, and Winky's Tavern, with a clever beer mug gag and weasels hiding among barrels.
What's interesting about that beer mug gag is that it was invented for Walt Disney World and then added into the Disneyland attraction in 1983.
The gag where the beer spins without
Yes, where
spilling.
Winky ducks down beneath the bar and the beers stay in the air and spin.
I noticed that many of the characters are plywood, 2-dimensional.
This is
cutouts.
correct.
Yes, and I also noticed in several of the ride-throughs that it almost intentionally has a like a carnival sort of feel to it that I think was probably on purpose. It's like a heightened carnival, and that many of the one major difference that I noticed between the Mr. Toad at Disney and the one at Disney California is the Mr. Toad at Disney had almost seemed to feature transitions into things that you didn't expect to go into.
Yes. Now, neither of you ever experienced this attraction, correct?
Correct.
No, I have not.
I very much enjoyed it as a child. One of the things that stuck out to me, when we can get back to the actual track rundown here in just a moment, one of the most distinguishing features about this was that when you got to the center, when you got to the town square, if the cars were released at the same time, which they should have been, if the ride operators were operating the ride properly, then you would almost run headfirst into the other cars twice on the ride as you went through Town Square.
Hmm.
It was a lot of fun.
Because we discussed the left track. The right track has different features, as we heard from the interview with Rowley. Scenes like Toad's library, a barnyard with animals and chickens scattering through the air, a policeman signaling you to stop, a courtroom where the policeman is now the judge, a jail with weasels in the cells, and a standoff between weasels and the police. And as you say, both tracks come together in Town Square, with both tracks circling it but never actually crossing.
And I noticed that both tracks have there's certainly a pattern where you start off in Toad Hall, and then you go into a secondary adventure, which is sort of just general chaos. And then there's a tunnel with signs very clearly telling you that you are going the wrong way in as many ways as possible.
Oh, yes.
And then some
gates
sort of
moving out of the way, signs
Yes.
moving out of the way.
and some sort of chaotic secondary scene where Toad, or you as Toad, is causing havoc throughout society. I noticed that there's a theme there of it starts off as man or Toad versus himself in his own home, as so often so much of drama in our lives. Sorry, I'm relating to my own.
This is getting very
therapy here.
deep.
Many of us wreak havoc in our own homes, and then on nature, it's man versus nature. And man, I'm sorry, I started teaching that community college storytelling class. And,
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's
how's that
right.
going?
yeah, it's there are themes, you see.
Now, Mike, you were talking about the plywood, and
Mhm.
I read that the style is intentionally flat, the traditional, kind of like the traditional hand-drawn character cartoons. The people, animals, and many of the props are, in fact, plywood. You pass through
Yes.
multiple double doors that defy logic, such as a flat painting of a pile of hay opening in the middle to let you through. The colors glow from black light illumination.
Mhm.
The theme song merrily, we're merrily, 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 merrily on our way to nowhere in particular is from the movie. It's appropriately named the Merrily Song, and it goes perfectly with the inventive scenery.
I always enjoy the song. It's fairly madcap. It's somewhat. It's almost a little too invigorating, especially when they get to the whistling portion. I have always been taught that whistling is the devil's music, but
Mm.
it is somewhat exciting to indulge a little every now and again. It's kind of like eating a flaming hot Cheeto. I can only
Scandalous.
handle one at a time.
I'd like to regale a story that I read earlier today about the devils in this attraction. Now,
Yes.
gentlemen, have you read the source material or seen the source movie Wind in the Willows?
Indeed, I have.
I have not. I have read Dune, however.
In
you
either
finished
of
it.
those source materials, does Mr. Toad go to hell?
No. In none of the, in neither the book nor the movie does Mr. Toad go to hell.
There's a fun story. When this attraction was taken over, or when Toad was murdered, several of the Imagineers would fly to Walt Disney World and take set pieces, including the Little Devils. Now, there are two separate and not identical ride-throughs, but at the end, they both end in a hell. And there are 6 little devils that are about 2 feet tall and about 14 inches wide and something deep. They're made of paper mache. These devils have been spread around the country in various Imagineers and auctions, and one Sam Simon, one of the creators of the Simpsons television show, acquired one. This devil went from auction for $10,000 for a 2-foot tall paper mache devil. In the ride, The Simpsons The Ride, which we covered when we had the episode about Back to the Future, The Ride. In the ride, there's a lot of homages or homages, tomato, to various theme parks. SeaWorld, for example, Pirates of the Caribbean is referenced. In one of the show scenes, Sideshow Bob destroys the stands you're sitting in, and you fall through the ground, and you will find those little devils from Mr. Toad's Wild Ride appearing in hell.
That is something I did not know. And that episode was our least listened to episode, if you can believe it.
Interesting.
Only 10,000.
Ooh, the same number of dollars a papier-mâché devil went for at auction.
That is too much of a coincidence.
Some might say that there is no such thing as a coincidence.
I feel the hand of Satan. Who you visit, just like in the Disneyland attraction, you careen toward the same sort of effect with the headlight of the train. I will tell you, when I was a child, I very distinctly remember riding on this attraction with my sister, and it was particularly convincing. I couldn't tell you how old I was at the time, but my gosh, the noise, the light, I was particularly startled, and even more startled to find that I went to hell. But I guess I was being Mr. Toad and not myself. So, I've accepted Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. So I definitely will not end up in that fiery heck hole.
You mean hell, the fiery heck hole?
Why have I've been saying hell all along? Now I'm switching it.
I just want to take a moment to remind people that we have come out with our own chili, the Dark Ride chili, and I just got some ad copy from our lawyers, and here we go. Attention spice enthusiasts and fearless flavor seekers. Prepare your taste buds for an exclusive culinary adventure. Dark Ride Ghost Pepper Extra Hot Nid Chili. Just to be clear, it's like haunted, but we went with hot Ned, so it's like hot. Haunted.
I like
it's
that.
It's fun when you see it. It makes sense. It's much like Stampums.com. Anyway, crafted exclusively for the bold souls of the Dark Rides podcast community. This chili is not your ordinary spice experience. It's a blazing journey into the depths of flavor and heat. Dive into the exclusive flavor of Dark Ride Ghost Pepper Extra Hot Nid Chili. Order now with the offer code DARKRIDE50 for 50% off. Spice up your life, Dark Ride style. 50% is a lot.
Hello, friends and family. I want to tell you about a product called Dole. It's a trusted name of fruits and vegetables, and for a good reason. We source our produce from the best farms around the world, and we're committed to delivering the freshest, most delicious food to your table. So start your day with a delicious smoothie made with Dole bananas, strawberries, and yogurt. Dole, sunny goodness every time.
I believe that was Mr. Smee, just so people are aware.
I don't know why you had to clarify. It was very clear.
I agree. For the hearing impaired.
Perhaps, yes.
I see. Shall we continue with the ride?
Let us, yes.
I have nothing more to add.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure that there's much else to say. People are familiar with it. I would encourage you to seek out a ride through video on the YouTube and enjoy it. It was a very enjoyable experience. I wish that you two had experienced it yourselves. I feel like your lives are less rich than mine because you have not experienced this attraction for yourselves.
You've been saying that ever since we started making this podcast, and I'm glad we have finally gotten to this ride in order to, frankly, just shut you up a little bit. But I do agree with you.
Well, things are looking up for me. I just swiped left on single riders, and I have a match.
Oh, well, that's
exciting.
very exciting for you. We'll see if they respond. We'll let you all know on the next episode, perhaps by the end of this episode.
Who knows?
Back to our tale.
Yes, Toad was riding high. His attraction was a hit as Walt Disney World opened. Thousands of guests flocked to the vacation kingdom of the world for a few days of castles, rides, hot dogs, and nightly concerts atop the Contemporary Hotel.
Toad was represented in 2 separate attractions, one on each coast. He continued in his spokes-Toad role with GM, but threads of anxiety began to gnaw at the edges of his mind. Sanders and his posse would appear around the parks, entertaining guests at the Crystal Palace restaurant and in the Epcot Center's England Pavilion.
Toad's position was tenuous. He knew it. While his Disneyland attraction enjoyed a new facelift in 1983's renovation, his Magic Kingdom version was looking somewhat dated. The exterior fit with Fantasyland's aesthetic of a medieval fair, and Toad was well represented as a painting above the queue entrance. Still, Toad had begun feeling anxious whenever he gazed upon his cartoon visage. Toad sipped his dry martini and resolved to meet with the man at the top, Michael Eisner.
Oh, hello, Michael.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
It's
I
good to
just
see
want
you,
to hear
Toad.
you say it. I want to hear you say it several times.
Oh, hello.
Thank
Hello.
you.
You deserve it. Hello. You've brought so much joy to the guests of this park.
Do you
Toad?
still carry around that recording of yourself saying hello to people?
I do. Hang on.
do love it so.
Let me pull out my recording device, and here, I'll adjust the volume. It's very low right now. I run it all the time, constantly on a loop.
Hello?
It's delightful.
Hello?
Thank you for humoring me, Mr. Michael Eisner.
Oh, listen to it. Listen to it fade into the distance. That was great. Thank you.
I say, dear boy, I am concerned about the how should I say, the shabbiness of my home in Fantasyland. Could
Shabbiness? What are you talking about?
It looks disgusting, my dear boy. Could we perhaps have some new friends in there?
Don't you have enough friends around there? You got Pan?
No, don't like him.
You got Nana the dog?
No, don't like her.
Pan?
She chased me once. It was very unpleasant.
How about all those dolls?
Speaking of all those dolls, whatever happened to Mickey and his friends? That they were there some time ago, and
Mickey Mouse's musical review. We sent that to Tokyo. They needed more Mickey.
Do you know what year you sent it by chance? And do you happen to know how many friends were in there? Can you list them all? As though we were on some sort of a radio program that people expected all of these tedious details from. Oh, you took the bait. How interesting. I wasn't expecting you to. Okay.
Yeah, of course I remember. Of course
Yes.
I remember. We've probably talked about it on this show. I mean, there's a show called Dark Rides that had a big episode about it. So of course
It's like
I know
a
about
radio
it.
program, but one on your computer, is what I understand.
Yeah. Well,
What is
we
a
closed it
computer
on
anyway?
September 14th, 1980.
Oh, I
Everybody
remember
was
that
there.
day. Yes.
Everybody was there.
Can you name a few?
All of the dwarfs. There were 7 of them.
Yes, can you name them off the top of your head?
Sleepy, happy, dopey, bashful, grumpy, Doc, and the rest. The big bad wolf was there.
He also
3 little
chased-
pigs. He was trying to blow down their houses.
Yes.
We then we had Alice from that one movie. We had 3 of the caballeros. They're back.
Alice from the Brady Bunch was there. Yes.
Yes, Alice from the Brady Bunch. The 3 caballeros we're there. They're back. They're actually in Epcot now. All three of them, Donald, Jose, and Panchito. Or sorry, Jose. I believe
what an interesting thing we're doing at the timeline, my dear boy.
Yes, they're all in Epcot now. in the year 2023. Uh-oh.
Oh my goodness.
What is this, Loki season 2?
It's very topical. Thank you, Jimmy.
Who?
It's Michael Eisner.
Hello?
There were more there, too. But yes, that ride went to Tokyo. Didn't you have something to say, Toad? Stop laughing.
I'm not entirely clear what I'm supposed to be saying here, if I'm being quite honest.
Well, you want me to update your ride? Well, too bad. I hear Winnie the Pooh is very profitable these days.
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that chubby little bastard peering at me through the window of the crystal. What is it? The Crystal Palace? Is that
Crystal Palace?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't.
You get breakfast there. Pooh will come by. He'll tussle the kid's hair. You don't tussle kids' hair. You're too short.
I am too short. Have you ever seen the statue of Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse?
Everyone knew. Statue. Everyone knew the time was drawing close.
What are you doing in my Toad Hall?
I'm the move along guy.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll be off then. Goodbye.
Everyone knew the time was drawing close.
That was my car, by the way.
And you're back.
Okay, I'm off again. Teleportation this time.
Everyone knew the time.
No one's going to listen to this show.
Well, they've started listening. Everyone knew the time was drawing close. Would Toad survive this wave of change? Maybe our sponsors will have the answer.
Well, folks, it's me, Tigger, the one and only bounciest Tigger in the 100 Acres Woods. And I'm here to tell you all about something as bouncy as me, AT&T. You see, AT&T is just like me, full of bounce, energy, and excitement. They're your go-to for all things connectivity. With AT&T, you can talk to your friends, send texts, and even bounce into the wonderful world of the internet wherever you go. AT&T offers incredible deals and packages so you can stay connected with your pals, just like I do with Pooh, Piglet, and all my friends. So if you're looking for the most wonderful way to stay connected, hop on over to AT&T. It's the friendliest network around. AT&T, the network that's as bouncy and fun as me, Tigger. So don't wait, bounce on over and stay connected with AT&T. AT&T, the network that brings you closer to the ones you love, just like Tigger does with his friends in the 100 Acre Wood. Don't miss out on the fun. Switch to AT&T today.
Enhance the flavor of your life with pure simplicity of table salt, your kitchen's best kept secret. Dive into the world of culinary delights and transform ordinary meals into extraordinary feasts with just a sprinkle of this kitchen essential. Discover the power of simplicity. Head to your local supermarket and grab a container of table salt today. Elevate your dishes, awaken your taste buds, and experience the magic of seasoning. It's not just salt. It's the key to unlocking a universe of flavors right in your own home. Don't miss out. Visit your nearest supermarket aisle and add this culinary essential to your pantry. No fancy gimmicks, just pure taste. Grab yours now and let the seasoning begin. Spice up your life. Grab table salt at your local supermarket today. Simple, essential, delicious.
Okay, so they didn't have the answer. Let's continue our tale. It's 1993, and Disney decided that the attraction needed even more capacity. Here's some exclusive audio from behind the scenes.
Damn it! I'm Dick Nunes, president of the parks. We took a look at the lines and realized that we could book even more folks through if we made the cars bigger. So we made the cars bigger.
Excuse me, Mr. Down here. Yes, hello. It's like the Mickey statue, but smaller. Hello. Yes, my eyes are here. Hello, thank you. how does this change in motorcar size affect the ride experience?
I don't give a flying fuck. Listen, laddie, it's about moving widgets through the thing. Leave the math to the business folk. I'm Scrooge McDuck, by the way.
Enter the billionaire. Scrooge McDuck was the boring, wealthy duck to Toad's Gatsby. I don't know the proper analogy because I only read that book once. I was in line at the DMV to get my first driver's license. I didn't read the whole book there. I just distinctly remember reading the part of the book where somebody was talking about Oxford, and it took me a while to realize Fitzgerald was talking about Oxford, but the guy wasn't good at saying the word. Anyway.
The years passed and Eisner was looking at the profitability of his characters. Toad wasn't making the cut. Not that they tried to sell any Toad merch or anything. No, Disney kept to the line that Pooh was more profitable.
1993. Toad watched as his motor cars expanded. 2 rows of seats. The mayhem was hardly the same. But they could accommodate more guests. He was happy to be still. Sure, he was happy to still be in his same position. But come on. The madcap adventures of Toad couldn't be the same with a slower car.
And that Pooh kept showing up.
Oh,
Oh, it's you. Hello.
Oh, bother. I'm looking for a pot of honey. I don't know how to do poo.
I think I heard someone do it on another radio program at some point, which is, contributed to my...
bother.
You're getting it. Just,
I'm looking for some honey.
That's good. Oh, there you are.
What does Jim Cummings sound like?
I have a cellar stuffed with honey pots. I probably shouldn't have said that. I was hoping that you would...
Oh, honey.
Not be
I love
as...
honey.
I was under the impression that you were more of a bumbling fool, but now you seem to have this nefarious plans.
bother. What's written on the side of those jars?
If I'm being very honest, I was hoping that you would peer into the cellar and I could push you down the stairs. And now you seem to be making your way slowly down the stairs, and you are fingering the honey, and bother.
That's my line.
That's a callback, so that's about tying it together.
All the honey.
I'm cutting
The tide was
carrots.
turning. Was Toad being washed out to sea?
Honey.
Pooh, come with me. Come with me. We're going to drive away in my motor car.
Heffalump and woozle.
ASMR honey eating. The tide was turning. Was Toad being washed out to sea? Not if Jeff Moscott had anything to say about it. Rumors became fact as Disney announced that a Winnie the Pooh attraction would replace Toad in the Magic Kingdom. The day after the announcement, Jeff and his friend John LaFonte started a website to protest.
Within days, they rallied thousands to the Toad cause, selling shirts emblazoned with the words, "Ask me why Mickey is killing Mr. Toad." Remember, this is a time when people didn't have websites to print shirts on demand.
Speaking of which, please head over to our TeePublic site for our own Dark Rides shirts. You're not a Dark Rides fan if you don't join the Patreon club and then also spend $20 on a shirt with our name in Arial font.
Oh, that Arial font. It's very soothing, isn't it?
And don't forget, when you're on our Patreon club, you can also, if you spend $35, the shirt will come with 2 cans of our Dark Ride chili. And we very neatly wrap the chili cans with a shirt. So far, none of the cans have exploded. But, I mean, it stands to reason that if we're shipping to a location that is a higher or a very much higher altitude, it's possible that they could.
Yes, like to my home in the Adirondacks. That might be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that brings us to sort of the conclusion of this episode so far, and the material that we have. Our team of researchers is working on the next episode, which will, I would presume, conclude all of this. It's quite a chilling tale.
I know. Are we convinced that that Pooh really is behind the murder, he seems an unlikely suspect given his general nature. He's a very amiable fellow. I
Well, what about
understand.
real estate mogul Scrooge McDuck? Because on September 7th, 1998, Toad was never to be seen again.
I believe that Scrooge McDuck. I mean, unless Pooh, Blood and Honey is in fact a documentary, which I don't think it is. I think.
The horror film
Yes.
that released in 2023.
Yes.
17 years ago.
I can't help but wonder if Scrooge McDuck has. I mean, his reality show DuckTales was canceled at around this time, and I don't think he would have taken kindly to that.
That's interesting. He might have been searching for some additional income, perhaps.
Well, I mean, much like Adam here, has quite the temper.
Yes, I apologize to our listeners again for my outbreaks.
Outbursts.
Oh.
It's fine.
Oh no, both of the veins are
Sit back
popping.
down. Adam, sit down. Thank you.
That's all the time we have for this episode of Dark Rides. Please join us next time for the very mundane conclusion to the murder of Mr. Toad. Until then, we'll leave you with this. Here lies Mr. Toad. It's sad, but true. Not nearly as marketable as Winnie the Pooh.
A podcast about Disneyland and Walt Disney World, which is the supreme resort. Each episode, we will discuss and explore each resort ride by ride, land by land, park by park, oh wait, that's not the right one. That's from a different script. To determine which is better. That was the weddings episode. I am your host, Erik, and thank you for joining me on this quest to help the greater good of humanity answer this long, elusive question: which is better, Disneyland or Walt Disney World? With me, as always, Dan.
Hi, this episode's long enough. I'm Dan.
Jimmy.
We just got started. Buckle up for a long one, folks.
Yes, the script is quite extensive.
I've been there, Erik, where you copy and paste a script that we all have memorized from another episode, and you realize it halfway through the read, and you have to go on the fly.
Right. Before I forget, I intended to do this in I think our last episode. Somebody who was going to join us for this, some would say fustercluck in a good way, was Chris from, I'm blanking on the
Happy Fun Time?
Welcome to Happy.
There you go.
Welcome to Happy. There we go.
YouTube channel. Welcome
he's
to
a
Happy.
YouTuber who we hope to collaborate with in the future. I think he wisely chose to not collaborate with us on this one. But I wanted to make sure to get his channel out there. He has a very similar sensibility to us. That doesn't mean you shouldn't watch his show, though, his YouTube, though. And hopefully, you will do that and show him that being involved with us will be good for him.
So because he couldn't make it on this show, this will be just probably a 5-10 minute episode of the Supreme Resort.
That's right.
There you go.
Erik, there was something you came across that you wanted to share with the audience.
Yeah. So I've been working on this one for a while. We wanted to do for our Halloween episode this year a little bit about a departed attraction, and we like to have fun on Halloween. So I was looking into Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in Walt Disney World, one of my favorites. A lot of we've talked about it before. Like, there's a lot of stuff that has gone that I don't have quite as much affection for as Mr. Toad. So that's my favorite. That's my great loss.
And as a show that tries to compare the differences between similar attractions on coast to coast, we can't compare Mr. Toad at Disneyland to anything at Disney World because it doesn't exist.
Right. So there's no real reason to bring it up. Although it did come up in the episode about the usurping Poohs, episode 13. Give it a listen. It was it's notable because you say my name in it. because I'm going to be on the next episode as we talked about was it the Tiki Room? Was that it was the Tiki Room. And you two railroaded me into not talking about the Walt Disney World Tiki Room because you don't like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like us.
Oh, well. But yeah, so as I was going through all of my research, I came across a podcast about Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and we've included that podcast here. It was a show called Dark Rides, and I wanted to kind of
ads. I noticed.
I've heard that.
They were
I haven't heard the show.
Wildly popular show. Just one of the most popular shows ever recorded. And
isn't that like a true crime?
Yeah, it's
podcast?
a true crime podcast. But they talk about true crime. Theme park attractions that are dearly departed. So they're fairly dramatic, a little dry maybe, but they never recorded another episode. All three hosts mysteriously vanished after this episode, so I figured we'd give Toad a full epitaph. And I wanted to talk about a hero that I really started to identify with, named Jeff Mosket. So I hope I'm just saying his name properly.
A little peek behind
little peepee
the podcast, little peeky poo. And I want to do this without, as we all know, Asher's real and cool. This is what I'm trying to say. So in us discovering this podcast, we thought maybe there would be another podcast or another episode of this podcast that would cover the People Mover, which is a similar loss on the West Coast. But as Erik, you were sharing your notes about this podcast that you had found, it became very clear that there's a much bigger story behind this one, the Mr. Toad, that I think needs to be told here.
Yeah, and I don't want to do it in a mocking way. Like
I don't know what you're talking about.
But as I was going through this, learning about this guy, and so for the context, this guy Jeff was the face of these Toad Inns, where he organized a protest. This was, as far as I know, the first protest to ever be put together. Like the first protest of a ride closing that was put together using a website. He created T-shirts. He created buttons. He talked with press all over the world. Like, this guy became a major deal. So I wanted to go through it and at least kind of wrap up the ending of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and present it in that way. So as we mentioned in the as that other podcast mentioned.
Yes.
Gosh. In October 1997, there were rumors that Winnie the Pooh was going to come in and replace Mr. Toad. On August 27th, it wasn't until August 27th, 1998, that there was an official announcement from Walt Disney World that the final day would be September 7th, 1998. So they really kind of hid it. And it's interesting because on the same day in Disneyland, they closed the Tomorrowland subs. And there was a ceremony. They had naval officers there to decommission the fleet. Like this, they made a big deal out of it there. And at Walt Disney World, they kind of hid it. And I think it's largely because of these Toad Inns. I
think also, you did a ton of research for this. And by the way, listener, Erik, if you're not driving and you would like to applaud for Erik putting this together, please do. Because he's done a ton of heavy lifting here. I think this could be an example of Disney they know their Disneyland fans or the regulars are going to be crazy if you don't announce and if you don't have some sort of a ceremony or something, whether they should or not. That's just something that exists there. I don't know that at Disney World there are as many rides like Toad that have the following of Toad. So I don't think that they would have expected it except for this guy, which probably scared them a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, and in the late 90s, you didn't have internet readily available. It was just kind of the beginning of the internet age where you could complain online and
Yeah, you couldn't make use groups and everything, and
and you couldn't make T-shirts at the drop of a hat, that kind of thing. So it's a bigger deal.
Yeah. So it really let's just if you will indulge me, listeners,
Please.
and co-hosts, I want to run through this timeline of the Toad-ins. If you want to search this out for yourself, look for just Google save Mr. Toad. This guy, somebody, I assume it was Jeff, I don't actually know, archived the entire website at, it looks like, the University of Miami's servers. I'm not sure why. There's probably more story to uncover with that, and now I'm very curious. But yeah, this guy basically blogged about these Toad-ins, and it's fascinating to go through it because you start to identify with him. I was telling the guys here that for a little while he seemed like kind of a jerk, but by the end I really sympathized with him and what he went through. You could tell this thing meant more to him than anything that Disney was doing. So December 7th, 1997 was the first Toad-in. Jeff said that there weren't a whole lot of people there. He was kind of disappointed. Word had kind of spread, but there just wasn't a lot going on. He talked with reporter Liz Langley, as you heard in that podcast earlier, and he had a few different interviews around this time. So the Orlando Sentinel had things, and it was kind of getting around. What's crazy is Disney didn't know what to expect. There was a ton of security there. There were outright security agents wearing the badge. There were the secret security agents, as you may know. Disney employs a lot of undercover security. So there were a lot of people touching their ears and talking on walkie-talkies. And there were two managers there. The manager for Fantasyland and the manager for City Hall were there. And their names were Dan, he was the City Hall manager at the time, and Dave, the Fantasyland manager. They're pulling out all the stops because they don't know what's going on. All that really happens is these folks are wearing their T-shirts that have a picture of Toad's friends standing around. Toad is dead with X's on his eyes, laying on the ground, and on the back it reads, "Ask me why Mickey is killing Mr. Toad." And he was allowed in because they didn't want to cause a ruckus, so they let him in. They let all of these people in, and they basically just took a picture in front of the ride, went on the ride, and then went around Walt Disney World. Like they just had a day there. This continued. So the following week, on the 14th of December, he was supposed to have a bunch of national reporters, but they didn't want. They all kind of bailed. Lots of people there, way more the second week, and security was a little bit less because they realized these people weren't going to be violent. They weren't going to do anything crazy. But he was like, they're selling sweatshirts. They're selling their shirts. They're selling their buttons, talking to people, and just kind of hanging out. And they really met with these two managers and got to know them. They developed a relationship with these guys.
It sounds like their sort of call to action, so to speak, was just to have more people know what was happening and to express displeasure that it was happening.
Right. That was it.
They weren't like a terrorist organization or anything. Like they weren't looking to be, they weren't destructive in any way. It was absolutely just like, hey, help us get the word out that more people love this ride than they might know.
Because again, at the time, you couldn't get word out on a global scale,
Right.
on a chat or a social media or whatever else. So this was a more coordinated effort, which I think is more significant.
Yeah.
Since we're there, Erik, do you think that if the time was different and it was like now, do you think it would have been successful?
I don't know. I don't see Disney backing down at this time, even though this guy Jeff, he's so sincere. He really thinks Disney is going to back down. I don't think they ever do. In this case, it looks like they at least humored him. They were fine with it, but they dug in their heels and they made it a less comfortable experience. Announcing that the ride was going to close a week before it did, like that's somebody was just giving this guy the finger. Is the way I look at it.
So they announced it 7 days before the closure. When did the Toad-In start?
The Toad-Ins started right after the kind of word got out that it was going to happen. So it wasn't an official announcement. So it's in December of 1997. Toad doesn't close until September of 1998. We've got almost a year. And this guy, because they haven't made an official announcement, I can see why he thinks that that they're making a difference.
Because it's not official.
It's nothing's official. They just keep talking about it. They keep hearing rumors. So 1998 comes along. For further proof that the internet wasn't completely all on the same page, they scheduled a Toad-In on the day that the Disney Marathon happened.
Oh God!
So,
do you think that was on purpose?
No, because you can tell the way he writes it. He screwed up. So it's hard to get around. They started the day at the marketplace because they're trying to gather in a place other than the Magic Kingdom, and they get hassled there because they don't have their manager friends around. But then they finally get into Fantasyland. It's just difficult to get around because of the marathon, of course.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting. Every one of these trips, they go to City Hall and protest. So everybody there goes to City Hall, everybody who's willing to. Some people weren't willing to wear shirts. Some people weren't willing to go to City Hall and file an official protest. Some of the people that joined were clearly cast members and didn't want to get singled out. They didn't want their bosses to know that they were supporting this as well. So as these folks went through the parks, they would get a lot of approval from other cast members. They get let on to rides. They like fast pass them in, and they'd get they get a lot of thumbs up and a lot of high fives, I'm sure. But yeah, it's interesting because of course there are people there are cast members who didn't want to see Toad go away either.
Mm-hmm. And was Scrooge McDuck behind it all?
Well, clearly, yes. Yes. Scrooge profited immensely.
Yes.
Because he owned the rights to the Pooh merchandise, not Disney.
Oh, that's the connection that I could never come up with.
Right. But these things continue. There's a little while where he's not going, but other people are showing up on unofficial Toad-Ins every Sunday. So these things continue without him. He has started momentum. In the beginning of March, the day before I turned 18, 45 to 50 people showed up for a Toad-In. Wow. So they're getting there. And these are people that he's saying are, wearing shirts, wearing the green shirts and everything. He had been saying for a while that he was going to bring a surprise. Jeff, yes, sorry, I haven't said Jeff's name in a bit. Jeff had been touting that there was going to be a surprise at this Toad-In. So there was extra security again. They don't know what's going on. Funny enough.
That does sound scary. There's going to be a surprise.
I'm bringing a surprise.
Get ready. Oh, it's Dick Nunes.
There was he tells a story where Captain Hook, the costumed character, comes out and points at the sign and then makes the sign for death, like he draws his finger across his neck. So everybody's booing Captain Hook. They the surprise didn't happen. Eventually, the surprise does happen. The surprise is he hired a plane with a banner to pull a banner behind it that read, let's see, "Save Mr. Toad's Wild Ride," and it gave the phone number for Al Weiss, the head of the parks.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
And then the website, savetoad.com. He eventually got that to go off. And I mean, his website has all of these links to Disney officials and their phone numbers. So send them an email, give them a call. They were surprisingly organized. And I wonder how many calls they actually got. Jeff's tale of the final few days are crazy. He's still showing up. He's still seeing these cast members. He's still meeting with these managers, although the security keeps diminishing after they realize, again, that these are all nonviolent people. It's fine. He eventually had
one day. Just kidding.
Until one day. And that was the day the Magic Kingdom exploded. You all remember that. So he feels like he's getting pretty famous. He's getting a lot of attention. And there's one day after Disney has announced the official date, he's getting calls from newspapers around the country. He's on news stories. He was on Fox, Fox News nearby. He keeps having these reporters show up. They don't want to go into the parks because then they'd have to pay because it's not an official press thing. But he keeps meeting with people outside the parks. Then summer comes and his annual pass isn't active because it's all blacked out. So no Toad-ins from Jeff because he doesn't want to give Disney any extra money. He's very adamant. I'm not going to give them any more money than I have to. He returned a T-shirt that he had bought at one point because, and he told when the cast member asked, "Oh, what's wrong with it?" He said, "I'm not giving this company any more of my money."
Well, that's one way to protest. It's probably more effective.
Yeah.
Protesting in the park means they're making money.
Right. But he kept on using his annual pass to give people discounts on their tickets. So he'd help people get into the park cheaper. It was because that was the thing you could do then. Yeah. Anything he could. Then on the day that it actually happened, the rumor was it was supposed to close on September 8th, but Disney changed it to the 7th.
Those bastards.
Right. So everybody showed up.
That is such a newness move. And by that, I mean Dick. That's spite. That is such an unnecessary thing for them to do.
They really are just flipping them off. The guidebooks, the maps already have Toad removed and say Winnie the Pooh coming soon.
Wow.
On
what, September 7th?
On September 7th. Yeah. The last day the ride's open.
And by the way, if by chance there is someone listening to this, I don't think there is, but just on the off chance that someone is listening to this and thinking like, wow, they're talking about this guy like he's a hero, and yet they make fun of people that talk about Splash Mountain like on a regular basis. You know the difference, okay?
There's a different tone to this guy.
I found a sample from an article by the Associated Press. His name is Mike Schneider. Okay, he writes this on September 1st, 1998. The title of the article: "Mr. Toad appears to be roadkill."
All of the headlines are just awful. They're all punny.
Yeah. So here it is. It's brief. Despite protests, despite the green T-shirt saying "Ask me why Mickey is killing Mr. Toad," despite hundreds of pleading postcards and letters mailed to Disney officials, Mr. Toad appears to be roadkill. A year-long internet and mail campaign to persuade Walt Disney World to keep Mr. Toad's Wild Ride apparently wasn't enough. Or so say Mr. Toad's champions, who claim the ride will be closed forever September 8th and replaced with Winnie the Pooh. Disney isn't talking yet. While a Disney spokesman would not confirm or deny any rumors, a company official said an announcement about the ride was expected this week. The Save the Toad campaign is a strange twist on a David versus Goliath fight, with a group of admittedly obsessive fans challenging the nation's ever-present, unremittingly cheerful entertainment giant. Here's the quote from Jeff Moscott. Anyone who would be so nuts to challenge Disney and waste a whole year obviously has some issues. It's his own words.
I like this guy.
Yeah, he's so sincere and seriously, people, if you're even remotely interested, go to this website. We'll put the link in the show notes. Read his description of the last day because he spends so many words on it, and
Jimmy's making a note to himself to put the link in the show notes.
Sure he is. But yeah, like he tells a story like as he sees a family coming off the ride, a dad and two kids, and they're like, "Yay, that was so much fun." He goes, "That was me 20 years ago. This is why I love the ride." As he's finally leaving, he sees a small child getting escorted away by their parent, and she turns and says, "Bye-bye, Toad." And I'm tearing up now.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting at a bar writing this, and I'm like, "Oh, he's right." But yeah,
Eric. Once again, if it makes you feel any better, just wait till our Black Star Star episode, and you'll be seeing a lot of that.
Listen to Bowie's planning.
So I Googled Jeff Moscott now. Turns out he still works for the University of Miami.
Oh, okay.
And if you Google him, you can get his phone number.
What?
Yes.
Hold on. Who's going to call him?
I won't say it online,
Jimmy?
but he's a network administrator, the University of Florida Mathematical Finance.
He vowed to never go back to Disney ever again.
We should get him on.
We should. I want to hear the story from him because the whole thing is fascinating, and I would love to learn more. I finished all of this going, I got to know more about this guy.
I have his phone number.
He writes, "Thanks to everyone who helped out the cause. I'm sorry we didn't win, but it sure wasn't because we didn't try." It's great. They even offered to, like, as he's leaving, the city hall manager, Dan, offers to extend Jeff's season pass. And Jeff said, "No, I'm never coming back here."
Man, I'm sure he's been interviewed a ton of times, but that would be really fun to get him on.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not recently.
Yeah, probably not recently.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, one of my favorite details, because all the cast members can't openly support, like they're not going to take a button and wear it. City Hall manager Dan wears a green shirt on the 7th, on the last day. And
That's nice.
They only wear white, but he put on a green shirt and his tie and showed up.
And then on September 8th, he was fired. It's not true.
From a cannon.
So what you're saying is that this is sort of the template. This story is what inspired them to make World of Color 1 at this.
Say what?
It just starts with 1.
Starts with
Someone's
one.
got
I
to
still
start
haven't
the
seen
wave.
World of Color 1. I don't know.
I've seen it
either.
more times than I care to admit.
Okay.
And talk about grown men crying. Yeah.
There you
Dolphins
go.
involved at
As
all?
we know, as is documented, I'm a sucker for, emotional
Aren't we
things.
all?
So, yeah, like, dolphin shows.
Well, Eric, thanks for doing all the research. Thanks for putting all the work in. That was an interesting story.
Thanks for doing our episode for us.
That was a real short episode.
It's a short one.
Yeah.
That's why
Maybe
we put
you
in
can-
the other podcast.
Yeah, maybe you can put in the other one and just to make this a little fuller.
Okay. Yeah. I'll
Awesome.
edit that together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Concierge
breaking.
is great. I was while you were talking, I was answering some questions for a concierge client, a Miss Bianca. She and her family are new to the East from Oregon, and they are looking to book their first trip to Disney World with their 7 and 5-year-old. And they've got another family of 7 coming from their old friends from Oregon. They're looking to plan to go in December, and there are still hotels available, if you can believe it.
So
8, 5, 6
what it
hour
sounds
years.
like is if you have what seems like a possibly impossible nightmare in terms of navigating 2 separate families and flights and hotels and all that stuff, they can get a sucker like you to take care of all it. I mean, a
That's
concierge, like you to do that.
A consuckier. Yep. Yeah. Close up the old plug bag.
Zip it up. There it goes.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
All right, Erik, close it up, buddy.
All right. Listen to other shows on our networks. Dan and I do have a new show called Bowie-splaining coming soon.
Eventually.
Not on this network.
No, not on this network, but it's coming. Also not on this network, the Hub Crawl. If you like listening to me talk, you have plenty of opportunities.
Yep.
Like Ears Up.
Right. Like Ears Up and all of the others.
And there's another one where Erik isn't talking, and that's called Ears Up in Depth. I've explained the show before. Just listen to that episode.
Great.
It's still true.
And thanks to the Bantha Milk boys and the Puny Pod also boys for their contributions. They know what they did.
They know what they did.
Also, Jason. Jason knows what he did too.
Yes. He might listen to this episode.
He might. He texted me a few minutes ago and said, "Make me sound good." And
we sure will.
I will.
That's what we're here for.
All right. Be good, everybody, to each other, to yourself, to thine own self be true, and court is adjourned.
Hello?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Lightning McQueen. Hey, this is Lightning. Hey, this is Lightning McQueen. Hey. Man, wow, this is really cool. This is Lightning McQueen. Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, wow. Hey, everybody. Hey, Lightning McQueen here, and I want to tell you, this is old Lightning McQueen here. I've been racing damn near about 45, 55 years, and I want to tell you guys about Pop Secret. Pop Secret is a brand of oil that Pop Secret is a brand of popping corn that I used to pop on my radiator, and it was hot and it felt real good when it popped up my hood. Got a big thrill about it. So yeah, ka-chow. Pop Secret is my friend. I love boy, do I love Pop Secret. Oh, I just love Pop Secret so much. I want put it in my tailpipe. Pop Secret. Pop Secret. Old Lightning McQueen here for another time for the Pop Secret. This is also old Lightning McQueen doing a very good old Bill Cosby. Old Lightning McQueen doing Bill Cosby. And it goes like this. Do you want some pudding Pop Secret? Pudding Pop Secret. Old Lightning McQueen here for pudding Pop Secret. Pudding Pop Secret is pudding, but it's made out of popcorn. Old Lightning McQueen runs on Pudding Pop Secret, and you should too. You should pop Secret until it's pudding, because that's basically all I can eat now, because I'm old Lightning McQueen. I sit here in this garage, and I huff gas, and I sit around, and I dream of the days when I won the Piston Cup a couple of times, and I flew through the air. And you know what I used to say then? I used to say, "Ka-chow." Those days are long gone now, man. My suspension's rickety, and whatever happens in cars, I don't know anymore. Really, I'm just sort of here waiting for Bob Iger to call me, but he doesn't call me anymore, and I feel like folks forgot about me. So if you're driving around right now and you're listening to old Lightning McQueen, why don't you give a honk? Give a honk in solidarity for Lightning McQueen. Just honk wherever you are. Just let me hear you honk, please. Please let me hear you honk. This is old Lightning McQueen. What is it? Pop secret. Ciao.
Well, you sure did make him sound good.
It's amazing. Fresh baked.
How's my gain?
Fantastic. It's everywhere you want to be, baby.
This is the first episode I forgot to say it.
Oh,
Somebody had to.
Man.
Damn it, Rolly! I'm Dick Nunes, president of the parks.